In the previous video, we had seen about the text component in Android. In this video, we'll learn about the button component and we'll do the event handling part of that component as well. Okay, so here in Android, there are button components which you can take this way. So button, and here you can add the height and width just like you did with the text box to that thing, and here you have to write the text which will appear over the button. So this is like a test button. So here you can directly write this text here, or if you are looking for internationalization options, you can add a string from here. So if you have written here a string like string name test, let's go to test string. Okay, so here what you could do is, instead of writing it this way, you can write string / test string. Okay, so it will bring up the content of the string inside this thing. Okay, so that is one thing you could do if you are looking for multiple language translations and stuff. So you should opt for this method, or else you can directly write this text as well. Okay, so apart from this, one important thing that you need to have with the button, if you are going to interact with that button, is to use the ID property. So this will uniquely identify the button. So this is like a button test. Okay, so after you have completely written the button, what you would do is you have to connect it to some event. Okay, so what we could do is like we could take a text view, so like text view, and match parent, wrap content, and here what we could do is we assign this thing as txt and info. Okay, and default text would be, this is a test. Okay, so just writing anything here. You can also style these buttons as well, but styling will not be considering here. We are just going for the basic functional stuff. So here in the main activity Java file, so this was the XML part. So as I said earlier, here you would find another file. So two set of files, one is the XML file and the Java file. So Java file offers us different types of interactions between the XML files and this backend. So all the backend data is taken care of with the Java files, or you can say the intrinsic operations are taken care by the Java file. In the newer systems, or you can say the newer versions of Android, you can also use Kotlin. Okay, so which is another alternative to Java that is currently available for using, or you can say for developing Android applications. So you can learn that as well. So here what you should do is, after you have taken this button, what we need to do is we need to store this data in the Java part. Okay, so for that what we'll do is like button, and here you can name something like vtx test, and just we have one edit text, text view and a button. So here test, you can take any name here. See what we have taken, txt info btn test. Okay, so after this line, so this set content view, here there's sometimes a case that whenever you're copying a code, what you could do is you just copy the whole thing. If you are referring examples from the internet, what people do is tend to copy this whole code and paste it. So sometimes if your activity names are different and here you have just copied and pasted this code, then it will give you an error. Okay, so this error usually with something like layout inflations will be caused due to this problem. So set content view should be pointing to the layout file, this XML file, which currently has these components, okay, that we are going to fetch here. So if you are fetching non-existing components, it will give you layout inflation errors. I will show you how that works as well. So here what I will do is btx test is equals to, we need to put a typecast here to button, okay, and we'll write find by id r.id and btn text test, sorry, and test is equals to id dot text info. Okay, so I've taken the variables here, and now what I want to add some interaction to this thing. So btx text test dot set on click listener. So there are different types of listeners available, something like you can say item listeners that are available with lists and stuff. So every different components has got different types of listeners. So like for any type of component, usually the most common listener would be that would be available across all the different components will be the focus listener, okay. And apart from that, almost every component has got its own listeners. Some have got key interaction listeners, input listeners and stuff, okay. So most of the times you won't be needing all these listeners, but you need to know how they can be used. For now we'll be concerned ourselves with only the on click listeners. So here what we could do is new view dot on click listener and press enter when it shows you in IntelliSense, and here what it has done is it has shown us this thing form. So what we could do is we could just test dot set text and text changed here. So let's run this thing and let's hope it works, okay. So we have already started the emulator. So here you can see, if not clearly, but you can see definitely this is a test. So if I click here, it should change to text changed here. So let's click here, see here, text changed here, okay. So this is a very simple interaction that I did between a button, and through the button we interacted and changed the text of a text view, okay. So apart from that, what we could do is we could do simple like calculations and stuff, okay. So if you are like take few edit text, okay, you can take user input from that as well. That also I want to show you. So here if you are having like EDT and EDT val, let's call this thing. So naming convention you can use your own as per your preferences. ETX txt, okay, yeah, test, sorry, ETX test, and goes to edit text and find view by id r.id dot dt_val, okay. So what we could do is like we can take that value and put it here. What we could do is we'll take this value and put it in this text view. So it's just random thing that we're doing here. So test dot get text to string, and we'll put it inside a string here, string str, oh, anything you can name it, and we'll put that string inside here, okay. So let's just see what happens. And I've started the emulator here once again, so it is asking me to terminate, and yeah, we have restarted the instance. So this is a edit text, and above that you can see this is a test. So here if I change it to test information Okay, so I've just written here test information, so this should replace this thing, and see here, it replaced this thing. So this is how we can interact between different components using a click. So in the upcoming video we will discuss about list view and spinner. So these are also important, you can say, the basic components of Android. So we'll discuss this as well, and after that we'll get started with our application. Regarding the styling of the components and stuff, we will keep it at the end of the project. Okay, so rather than spending time on, you can say, styling the components, or you can say the view part, we will be focusing on applying the logic. Okay, so we'll not be more concerned with the user interface, but more concerned with the application logic and stuff that we'll be implementing, because the core of this course is to learn as a beginner. It's not meant for like specifically for UI design or the backend part. So I want to balance out both these things, so I have decided to not focus more on the user interface part, but rather going into the implementations, like the balancing of both. So hopefully this will be helpful to all of you. Okay, so thank you.